And I will bring them out from the people, and gather them from their countries, and will bring them to their own land, and feed them upon the mountains of Israel by the rivers, and in all the inhabited places of the country. The fulfillment of the prophecy occurred in modern times, and more than 140 years ago, the Jewish people began to return to the Promised Land. The waves of Aliyah and settlement in Eretz Israel required an extensive logistical response to the renewal of settlements, to the development of agriculture, to water supply, forestry, and to creation of infrastructures. In 1901, Keren Kayemeth LeIsrael Jewish National Fund was established exactly for this purpose. My name is Elisha Mizrahi, and I've been working in Keren Kayemeth LeIsrael since 1995. I've been privileged to manage the northwestern Negev area for about 20 years, and I would love to take you for this virtual tour in this fascinating and challenging area.
This year marks our 120th anniversary. The Negev constitutes approximately 70% of the land of the State of Israel, with less than 20% of the state's population. In our visit to the northwestern Negev region, we will meet the different challenges and solutions that KKL-JNF provides through projects and activities in forestry, water management, community development, agricultural research, education, and more. Our first point will be Moshav Netiv HaAsara.
We are at Moshav Netiv HaAsara, the closest community in Israel to Gaza Strip. As you can see, the fence is just behind us, and the distance is less than 150 meters. Just for an example, the distance from here to Tel Aviv is 62 kilometers, which gives them about a minute and a half to get to the shelter. Over here, the residents of the Moshav have less than 8 seconds to get to a protected area.
Allahu Akbar, ma ramayt iz ramayt, lakin Allah rama, Allahu Akbar.
KKL-JNF is playing an important role in maximizing the protection of the people by paving a peripheral security road, protecting access to and from the Moshav. KKL is helping to expand the community by preparing new plots of land for housing to absorb new families.
The houses are just in the frontier, and the walls that were built over here are for defensible meanings. And as you can see, the people that live here in Netiv HaAsara are seeking for peace. Hopefully, that's what will happen one day. For meanwhile, we have to defend ourselves.
Our second stop is Camel Hill Lookout, a hill just outside the city of Sderot with a panoramic view of the entire region.
I'm honored to be here with you. Standing here really gives you the sense of the complexity of this region. Home to Netiv HaAsara, Erez, Nir'am, Mefalsim, Kfar Aza, Saad, Nachal Oz, Alumim and Be'eri. All our work, together with our friends and partners worldwide, is for the benefits of the people that lives here in this harsh region.
We continue to the capital of the Western Negev, to the city of Sderot, a city that has suffered thousands of missiles and became a symbol of resilience to Hamas attacks. Over the years, KKL-JNF has continuously invested in the city. The name Sderot came from the avenue of trees planted by the new immigrants in the early 1950s who worked in Keren Kayemeth LeIsrael. We're going to meet Hagar.
We are suffering from rockets for 20 years. It's not a post-trauma. People that live in this situation have ongoing trauma because they have to live in a situation that all the time we are waiting for the next rocket. Some of the symptoms that people that live here have are anxiety, that it's including they don't want to be alone at home. They don't want to sleep alone. Most of the children in Sderot sleep with their parents. They wait in bed at night. We see sometimes aggressive behavior. We see many things that really make the life much more difficult.
Due to severe distress, the KKL-JNF has been supporting the Special Resilience Center.
Every week we have here about 300 people that come to this wonderful place. In the treatments we give them tools how to live with it. We are working for 24 hours. We are getting to people to their houses. We are going to places that the rocket was fallen to see that everybody is okay. And we want to thank you a lot for all the help. The dream became reality. We couldn't do it without you.
KKL-JNF strengthens Sderot, helping to create a sustainable community for a viable future. KKL-JNF has been investing in many social and environmental projects in Sderot. One of them, known as Park of Courage, is a green lung that brings nature into the urban life and provides resilience and well-being to the residents. Safety bomb shelters are spread throughout the park for security. Recently, KKL laid the foundations for a new educational and heritage center in Sderot. This center, one of many across Israel, is a socio-educational flagship project on the part of KKL-JNF, designed to reduce gaps between central Israel and its periphery, and provide equal opportunity for all Israeli high school students to improve their future prospects. KKL-JNF partnered and facilitated the establishment of the Ezra Lemarpeh, a state-of-the-art medical and rehabilitation center which serves the region. We are on the way to Kibbutz Nir Am. Established on land whose purchase was completed by KKL-JNF in the early 1940s. Nir Am served as a source for the water pipeline that was laid in 1947 and supplied water to the 11 communities in the Negev.
We are at Nir Am Reservoir. Water and security are essential to existence. Keren Kayemeth LeIsrael has built this reservoir, like many others all over the country, that stored recycled sewage translocated from the center of Israel to the Negev area, enabling farming in this region.
From Nir Am, we are continuing south to Kibbutz Nachal Oz, which is also located hundreds of meters from the Gaza Strip border.
Nachal Oz is the first community that was standing here since 1951. They came as young soldiers and they built up a young kibbutz just from scratch on the border with Gaza. Personally, for me, it's coming back to a kind of a home. One of those young pioneers was my father. And I was growing on those stories.
We were happy to meet with Tamar Levy, one of the kibbutz's founders.
I live in Nachal Oz since 1955, and I'm very happy to be a part of this wonderful kibbutz near Gaza Strip. I have to admit that from time to time, it's very hard.
It's not so easy in the last 15 years to survive in this area. About 3 operations, little wars, were the actual daily life of these civilians. Instead of tractors, tanks are being gathered up. Fires that come from balloons that are being flown from Gaza directly to the fields of wheat that is almost in harvest time. People start thinking, what am I doing here with my family? And this was a kind of a crisis they have to overcome. What did it? What gave them the ability to be as strong as they are? In the place where people in the other side are busy destroying, Keren Kayemeth LeIsrael is building life for the people that are here to stay. And this is the strength of the spirit. As we can see, about 27 new apartments are being built for young couples that will join the kibbutz from the center of Israel. They are coming here to enjoy the lifestyle that they can get over here. And this is a project that we are doing, Keren Kayemeth LeIsrael, together with our friends, preparing the area. And of course, all those houses are shielded.
Those young people, they call themselves הציונים החדשים.
The new Zionists.
The new Zionists. We ask them, why Nahal Oz? We have the bombing, we are 700 meters from Gaza. They say the community is something very special.
Then and now, David Ben-Gurion's legacy lives. It is in the Negev that the youth will be tested, its pioneers' strength, vigor of spirit, and creative and conquering initiative.
The road leads to Kibbutz Nahal Oz. A few yards from here, a bus that came back from the kibbutz, after leaving most of the kids in the kibbutz, had been shot with a cornet missile. This area was bare from trees, so anyone on the other edge could very easily shoot on the vehicles that were running on this road. One kid was left on the bus and was killed. One of the things on the methods that we can secure those vehicles is by planting trees. Keren Kayemeth LeIsrael workers planted trees alongside the road. This is the meaning of security afforestation, and not just on the road, inside the communities as well. Every area that is observed very easily from the other side of the border was planted with lines of trees that are now hiding and securing the houses and the residential areas. Keren Kayemeth LeIsrael, JNF, is planting trees in vast manner. Also here in the Negev area, which is a desertified area, we've been planting most of the gullies. And as you can see, eucalyptus trees are growing quite lovely down at the gully streams. In winter times, most of the runoff is being accumulated through the gully, and it takes all the fertile soil all the way down the stream, damaging the farmers' fields. So together with this kind of planting trees, we are treating soil erosion problems and helping the farmers avoid this kind of land loss. And as you see, the eucalyptus trees and other trees can produce also nectar for bees, and not just bees. In springtime, we bring a lot of goats and sheep into our areas in order to enjoy the grasslands. We've been able to create this kind of enrichment of the ecological services of the forest system to all the benefits.
We're here actually in the very heart of the western region, which is one of the largest probably regions of KKL. It spans from the very fence of the Gaza Strip up to Beersheba in the east. The main challenge is the climate itself. Of course, the major point of this climate is the water availability to the vegetation, which makes us base our activity on a lot of science and a lot of experiments.
KKL-JNF supports research and development and studies the environment, sharing its decades of accumulated knowledge with other countries far and near. At the heart of its R&D activities is the Center for Climate Crisis and Global Warming in search of solutions.
Yatir Forest is the largest man-planted forest in the Middle East. Currently, we are at the International Research Center in collaboration with Weizmann Institute.
We are working here in Yatir for over 20 years. Yatir is part of a global network of flux stations like this. There are over 600 sites like that around the world. We are the only site in the Mediterranean, only site on the edge of forest and desert. And Yatir Forest is a kind of laboratory where the condition now here will be prevail probably with global warming and drying in much northern wetter sites in the world.
We are confronted in this region with extreme climate as well as the battle in forest and agricultural land fires caused mainly by terror. KKL-JNF firefighters are constantly in the front line.
Being very close to the Gaza Strip, we have another challenge, which is the forest fires. This is actually the focal point of the firefighting activity of the region and maybe of the entire district.
So this is one of the forest plots that were burned in May. A balloon came down with fire underneath, and of course, the fire plot was burned. Some of the trees were dying totally, as you can see this one over here, that was burned. And what is even nicer, you see that from the ashes, from the dust, the nature is coming back. The flowers that are flowering every year are here again. And some of the trees survived and they're growing back, and seedling will come back again and the forest will live again. And maybe it's a good example for our strength. The anemones are coming back yearly in February, and a Red Scarlet Festival is being held. People are coming from all over the country down to enjoy these areas. And of course, we are here for that. I hope you enjoyed this special tour. I thank you very much for joining me in the northwestern Negev along Gaza surrounding. We hope to see you as soon as the COVID pandemic will allow travel, welcoming you here in our holy land of Israel.